guys, GreenByrd here. I hope everyone is doing awesome. Gonna do a quick little video here. It's freezing cold. It's probably in the 20s. It's warmed up a little bit since this morning. We had a little bit of snow this morning, which is crazy because it's supposed to get into like the high 50s next week, so who knows what crazy things are going on. I am by the road. I'm about 75 yards from the road right now, so I apologize for the noise. Just thought I'd get out, enjoy some fresh air, and put some notches in this beautiful piece of Burns green obsidian. So this is a slab that I've been working on. It's not perfect, but it's close enough. We're going to put some notches in there. So I'm going to put side notches in this, I think. And I see a lot of people putting the notches on off their leg like this. I'm going to try that. I'm not sure if I should start, like some pilot notches, I guess, before I do that. But I'm going to just try and do it that way and see what happens. So I think let's just go for it. I don't like the way that feels. I'm gonna go back here just real quick. But trying to get nice straight notches without blowing the ears off. I seem to have a bad habit of doing that. I think sometimes if it's too thick, you're going to take that flake, it fans out. Instead of just taking that material off to take your notch, it does what it's supposed to do, what percussion does, what pressure flaking does, what everything does, and it creates that ball of percussion and fans out that blade, the flake, sorry. And I think what happens is that I'm blowing off the ears because my points are a lot thinner now than they used to be. When they were thicker, it wasn't such a big deal because when it fanned out like that, it would just take off a little bit of material. So as I'm starting to get these points thinner and thinner, I'm trying to be extra careful to be cognizant of that I'm just kind of nibbling away at the rock that's there and not actually trying to push a flake. Because I think that's when I run into problems. But so far with this one, knock on wood, I think I'm going to abandon the idea of working off my leg like this. I think I'm going to wait until I have a little bit more of a generic piece of obsidian to work with. This Burns green is not super common, not super cheap. So I'm going to stick with what works best for me. I'm just going to keep nibbling a little bit at a time. Try to take shallow flakes so I'm not actually driving flakes. I'm just kind of taking off material. And as I do that, I need to be careful about my support and my not to support like the end to end, but like pressing too hard on that and that plane where the two notches line up, because if I do push too hard, it's going to snap it. But if I don't give it a little bit of support, that'll snap it too. So it's kind of a tricky thing. I guess now, this is when people probably go flip it over and try it like that. There we go. And this one ear is actually a little bit long. It needs to be trimmed a little bit. I usually like to do that before I start to notch because bad things can happen. I'm just going to take a tiny, tiny bit off. So far, so good. Just going to work this notch slowly and steadily. If you've watched some of my other videos, notching is not my specialty. I don't think it's really anybody's. in my opinion, it's one of the more difficult parts of the point. Oh! Blasted that ear off. And you know what? It's because I took a really aggressive flake and broke my own roll. That's too bad. That's really too bad. It's alright though. Let's see if I can fix it as we move along. This has not been my day. I've messed up 2 slabs before this one. Luckily those ones were not burns. I think I know how to fix this though. I'm just going to reposition that ear. So the part that I blew off, just going to bring this edge in a little bit. Which is a little bit dicey because you have to be careful you don't bring it in too much, because then you're going to have to adjust the other side. So. But well worth it in this particular situation, I think. We're almost there. Stay with it. Don't get tempted. Try and keep my symmetry on these. So I'm just trying to, what I'm trying to do here, I think what my mistake is normally is that when I get into these notches, like I said, I'm putting that pressure on there just like I'm driving a flake, and it's because I'm used to working points that are a little bit thick, but as my points start to get thinner and thinner, you can't really drive those flakes because it'll just do what it just did and blow that ear right off. Because it wants to feather, and there's just no material to feather into, so it takes off that ear. I think we may be close to calling this good. And of course, sometimes you do need to drive a flake when you're notching, but you shouldn't have to do it too much. So that one started, oops, that started to stall out, but I just felt something give. But that one I think is deep enough. So I'm just going to touch it up just a little bit. This other side here could use a little bit of a touch up. And for me, this is one of those things where sometimes less is more. Sometimes if it's not absolutely perfect, but it's close enough, you know, to where only you notice it, it's kind of worth just stopping. What do you think? Should I go a little further? Yeah, I think so too. Just a little bit. A little bit. I should take a picture of this though, right? No, Still not comfortable with that. I'm going to wait until I get some generic Obsidian or something a little bit cheaper and experiment with that method, because it seems to work for a lot of people. If it works for a lot of people, there must be something to it, right? Alright, I think we're going to call it good right there. So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. Just a little fun notching today, nothing big, no big deal. So again, this is Burns Green Obsidian. See if I can get lights. The sun's starting to go down a little bit, so I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera. But it's a beautiful rock. Beautiful, well, volcanic rock. Tip could use a little bit of a touch-up. I may do that a little later. Anyway, there we go. Just a quick video notching some Burns Green Obsidian. Hope everyone's having an awesome day. Paleo GreenByrd signing out. Alright guys, so we did a little bit of fine-tuning on this. I just wasn't happy with the way it ended up. You can see I did work the base a little bit just to make it a little bit prettier. It does look like, if you look at that one ear right there, it does look like it's a little uneven, but that's an optical illusion because there's a little bit more convexity on that one ear. You can kind of see it. If I was to you know, nibble that off and make that so where it looked like it matched, the ear would be, it would take off that. I can't show you because I just have one hand that I'm working the camera, but all that dark part that you see right there on the top would be gone, and that ear would just be completely out of symmetry. So it is in symmetry. It just kind of shadows and gives you that optical illusion that it's not. I also did a little bit of touch-up work on the tip because the tip was a little bit off. If you compare it to you know, the video at the end of the video, I do kind of still have a little bit of my signature eagle beak. I may get rid of that. I may go back and take that off. I didn't realize that that was still there. In fact, I'm going to. But other than that, it's real sharp. I mean, it grabs my skin when I run my fingers across it. Razor sharp, not razor sharp, I guess, but like it's sharp. I could cut with it. I could cut it. I could carve wood with it. I mean, you know, carve bark off of it. I could probably cut my leather pad. I could certainly cut myself with it. Up here a little bit is a little bit duller. It doesn't grab quite as much as like the tip does and the edges do. But if you look, there's enough left there to where I could take some little itty bitty flakes off there and then microflake it after that and make it just as sharp as the rest. So this is what I ended up with. Again, Burns Green Obsidian. Love this stuff.